So my name's Ben Reynolds, I'm the manager of Breakfast Creek Station. I have been for the last 12 years. I manage Breakfast Creek for Hillgrove Pastoral Company, which is a vertically integrated business from breeding, bull breeding, trading, feedlotting and exporting beef. And Breakfast Creek's part in that is within the breeding and trading parts. We're a predominantly beef business, farm. The business has got a sheep enterprise as well, but all the beef, Breakfast Creek's predominantly beef at the moment. Yeah, Breakfast Creek Station's a 4,000 hectare property in the southwest slopes between Cowra and Boorowa. We're a predominantly cattle property. We do some forage cropping, which we'll harvest wheat and canola most years, but it's mainly as a sideline to the cattle, and we use it grazing crop for our winter feed. We've had a significant pasture improvement program the last 10 years where we've converted a lot of native country into pastured country. The enterprises we run about around 4,500 head of cattle. Roughly half of that's breeding, half of it's trading. So we'll have a couple of thousand breeders and a couple of thousand trade cattle on at any time. We've changed our system a bit to be more flexible with our confinement feeding, and we've moved to more of an option where we can paddock feed to utilise dry standing feed before we go into confinement. Particularly on the last 3 summers, we've had a lot of dry rank feed, and then by providing a high protein pellet in the paddocks, the cattle utilise the feed better. We found that when we're feeding during the drought, at times we were feeding sort of 120 bales of hay or straw a week and sort of 20 tonne of pellets, and we didn't have a great system. We were using a sheep bromar feeder, and we were feeding into sheep feeders. We just didn't have the capacity to feed a lot of cattle, which we needed to really quickly. So we've changed over to Roswell feeders, which will hold about 8 tonne of product, and we've bought a chaser bin which will hold about 15 tonne of product. And we've just found by doing that we can get the cattle fed a lot quicker. And we're providing our roughage in racks, but we're just in the process of buying a silage wagon, and we'll probably make between 8,000 and 9,000 tonne of silage this year to be able to provide our roughage quicker and easier. Well, just maintaining ground cover in our pastures. We've spent a lot of money on our pastures over the years, and after the last 4 years I'm amazed how well they've come back. Well, they bounced back immediately, which I didn't expect them to after 3 years of taking a bit of a beating. But it's all improved pastures, so the Phalaris and the clovers bounce back really quick. But that was the main thought, and just to be able to have them close by and be able to feed them quickly as well, just to get it done. But it was mainly to get cattle off paddocks and feed them in a timely manner. As far as the confinement feeding, when we were doing it, we fed just a good sloping westerly slope was what we were after, with feed bunks at the top of the pen and water at the bottom of the pen, and just good access and good water and a good slope. We're currently building another set of cattle yards which has got feed yards on it, and we're really doing it properly now, like just stripping everything back, putting thousands of tonnes of gravel in there to give it a good base. Feed bunks up the top and new water troughs. And close to your cattle yards is important. Whatever you're feeding, you get a lot more, you run into respiratory issues, and if you do have an animal health issue, you need to get onto it pretty quick because they're all drinking out of the same trough. It's given us some confidence to roll into dry times as well, knowing that we can feed, and we've got all the systems around us to be able to hook in quickly. One of the big opportunities with cattle is when it gets tight, cattle get cheap, and one of the reasons for that is they are difficult to feed compared to other livestock. So by having a good feeding strategy and system and in place, we're able to actually buy cattle when other people are making forced sales, which allows us to do some trades through that. Well, it all works. For supplementation for cattle, definitely. But it's infrastructure that can be utilised for anything. So we've loaded out all our wheat that we harvested last year out of the grain shed that we built. We just tweaked it all in there at harvest because it was a challenging harvest to get trucks and get deliveries. We use it for super and fertiliser storage. So it's all infrastructure that can be used throughout the time, and all the silos can be used for fertiliser and what have you. But just having feed up your sleeve just gives you the confidence that you can do other feeding jobs where you buy weaners, unweaned calves and things like that you're happy to take a bit of a hit on because you can pick them up with your feeding processes. And Yeah, and then also as other opportunities arise, but it's equipment that we're using equipment and assets that we're using constantly, not sort of sitting on for the next dry period. Get your drainage and your base right. That's the big one. Yeah, you get sort of one chance to get your base right. So get rid of all your topsoil and get a good base down, a good drainage site, access to for trucks and also feed wagons and tractors, and good laneway infrastructure for getting stock to and from. You end up with a lot of stock standing around your yards, and as you let them out, you need to be able to do it quickly but easily as well. So, but yeah, but drainage is the big one. Drainage is paramount, and your base. So the confinement feeding is a small part of our seasonal management of our livestock and our pastures. Both through dry times and better times, we use the confinement feeding for management of pasture ground cover and maintaining ground cover and not getting erosion and topsoil loss in those drier times, and also managing our cattle to be able to keep the condition score that we want on them throughout the year, depending on where their breeding cycle's up to. And we also use it as a trading option and a value add option to be able to put weight on cattle faster when people who are relying on grass-fed systems may not be able to, and utilising it. And we're also able to utilise all the same infrastructure for our weaning and other husbandry processes throughout the year. So I think it's just a part of the farm that just complements everything else, really. And yeah, our management.